Hello and welcome to this online arbitrage deals video. I hope you're doing well, and in today's session I wanted to talk about a range of podcasts that are going to be really useful for your Amazon arbitrage journey. They are there for everyone, so whether you're a beginner, whether you're somewhere in the middle, or whether you'd consider yourself a professional Amazon seller, you've had your account for a number of years, you're making X amount every single month, wherever you are on your journey, hopefully these podcasts will have something for everyone. So please feel free to go ahead and give them a listen. Now, the first three podcast shows that I'm going to talk about are all part of a course, if you'd say. So if you follow each one through, by the end of it, if you've started with absolutely nothing, you're just interested in getting into selling on Amazon in general, by the end of these three podcast shows, you should have a very good knowledge of how to continue from there. You might even, as you've been following it along, set up your Amazon business, been looking into your first products and things like that, and, gone for FBA, or maybe you've decided to fulfill things yourself. These three podcast shows are really key to follow if you want to get started with selling on Amazon. So the first one that I want to talk about, which I think is an excellent place to start, is the Amazon FBA Arbitrage podcast. Now, these are available, by the way, all on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So go ahead and check them out. So the first one, as I say, is the Amazon FBA Arbitrage podcast. Now, basically what this is about is teaching you the basics of online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, explaining what FBA is, what that means to you. So with these first three shows that I'm going to talk about, they all have 6 episodes. They are limited seasons. Of course, if there is a demand for more, then a second season will come for each of them. So if you are listening through and you think, you know what, these are great, I'd love to have a second season, and gain some more knowledge completely for free, please feel free to reach out to info@onlinearbitragedeals.com and let us know how much you like the shows. You want more, you want these specific topics to be covered, and we can look into doing more seasons of them. So all of them have been produced by myself, so I'm doing all the teaching in them, so you'll recognize my voice right away, especially if you're watching this video. And so the Amazon FBA Arbitrage podcast, as I say, it's about the online arbitrage and retail arbitrage basics, FBA basics. So it's an introduction to the arbitrage business model and Amazon, deal sourcing tips and tricks, deal analysis for online and retail arbitrage, key dates and events for Amazon sellers and preparing for each business quarter, assessing competition on a listing and the buy box, and rounding up the Amazon selling basics and how to proceed with your arbitrage journey. So that is the first one that I'd recommend starting off with of the limited seasons. The next one is the Amazon Repricer podcast. So this is pretty good, especially if you have been, listening to the podcast about deal analysis and such, because once you've analyzed a deal and you start selling it on Amazon, the next step is to reprice it in order to help you secure the buy box and, make sales and boost your profits. So this one is all about repricing, giving you tips on how exactly to do that, key strategies for winning the buy box and, increasing those sales, how exactly you should do that, what software to use. So if we start off, what is a repricer? So explaining what it is, because you might not have come across one before, you don't know how exactly it's going to help your business. And why is it important for your business? Tips for setting good minimum and maximum prices for your arbitrage items, choosing a repricing strategy to increase your sales and profits, using automations to help you become more hands-free in your arbitrage business, which is a really cool part of the repricer that I mentioned in this series, which is Profit Protector Pro. When to get a paid repricer and the differences to the Amazon repricer. So if you've started selling on Amazon, you'll know that Amazon have got their own repricer, and that is just part of what you'd use with selling on Amazon. And so this is obviously discussing the differences between that and a paid repricer, what the benefits are. And then at the end, just like with these other seasons, there will be a roundup of everything that's been talked about previously with some guidance on how to continue your journey once you've completed the podcast. So that's the Amazon Repricer podcast. Next, we have the Wholesale on Amazon podcast. Now, this is the last of the 3 limited seasons that I've been talking about. So this is focusing on how to conduct your Amazon journey if you are doing the wholesale method. So, buying in bulk from wholesalers. There's a lot more to it than you'd think. It's a lot more than just that. So that's why we created this season. So we've got an introduction to FBA and FBM and the Amazon arbitrage wholesale methods, explaining what exactly it is. Finding wholesale suppliers as an Amazon seller and how to communicate them, that's very important for proceeding with your wholesale journey when selling on Amazon. You need wholesale suppliers. You need to know how exactly to communicate with them. The difference between private label and wholesale, because these two methods are often compared to each other. So I thought it would be, good to talk about one, the other, comparing them and, analyzing the differences. How Buy What Pro is the answer to making quantity decisions, finding out total costs, and more so we recommend a software for you to use and how that can help you with, those quantity decisions, which is very important, and finding out total costs. Be aware of Amazon's suspensions and rules, something that's very important. Seeing if you don't make your way through this particular series, I'd heavily recommend this episode, even if you're looking at the other two and not necessarily this one because you might not be doing wholesale. I'd still recommend this episode anyway, because it's very important for all Amazon sellers, regardless of what method you use. Amazon product research and key tips to continue wholesale. So just like with the other two, a bit of a roundup. We've got some more on Amazon product research and how to continue your journey from there. There are then 2 ongoing seasons, which is the Retail Arbitrage podcast that is weekly, and then we have the Online Arbitrage podcast, which is more or less every other week. So the Retail Arbitrage podcast, exactly what it says on the tin, all about retail arbitrage, how to sell everyday store products online using the power of Amazon. So this focuses on using an app called BuyBot Go, but it's also talking about other things as well. So things that are essential to you if you're an Amazon seller and you do retail arbitrage, things like, planning your journeys, what kind of stores to go to, talking about BSR and subcategory BSR, why looking at Amazon competitors is important. Setting up an effective routine, preparing for various quarters and how exactly to do that. Amazon versus eBay comparisons. There's so much to this. And as I say, it comes out every single week. The most recent one at this point in time is the art of negotiation, to how exactly you can talk to someone in the store to perhaps, get key information about products, to potentially get discounts, things like boxes. They can potentially set you up with things like that to help you in your Amazon business. Every little helps. So the art of negotiation, and then we have the Online Arbitrage podcast, exactly the same, but just about online arbitrage, focusing on that aspect of things. There's so much in here as well. So virtual assistant management tips, deal leads, how to plan for your year, uncovering retail arbitrage. There's a bit of that in here as well. 6 ways to get the buy box more often, how to help you generate more sales and things like that. So it's a really useful podcast. And as I say, this is every other week. So yeah, both the online and retail arbitrage podcasts are things that are ongoing, so you can keep up with them, and there will always be more to come. There will be multiple seasons of the online arbitrage podcast, with the retail arbitrage is just finishing its first one. And so these ones are excellent if you wanted to stick with the podcast journey, especially if you've listened to these 3 limited seasons. And as I say, you can find all of them on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. They're excellent to listen to. They're roughly around 10 minutes long, give or take, a little bit depending on the topic, depending on how much there is to say about that particular topic. So some of them might be, 6 minutes, but roughly about 10 minutes tops per podcast. So yeah, happy listening. Those are all the podcasts that I'd recommend. Again, you can find them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hopefully they're a massive help to you. They are a free source of knowledge, which is very important to get a hold of. You don't need to pay for anything at all. So hopefully this was useful information for you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.